argument.
We'll call the February 15th Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order. Roll call. Commissioner Hanson.
Present.
Microphone.
Present.
Yeah. Commissioner Rich. Commissioner Lee. Mr. Butke. Mr. Huerman.
Here.
Commissioner Neal.
Present.
And I am here. Let's see, do we have any written communications?
Do not.
Okay. Do we have any citizens in the room? No. Do we have any citizens online? No. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 18th, 2022. Are there any? Second?
Second.
2023.
Or
2023.
2023, thank you.
Yeah, as amended.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, oppose? No. I will take the chair's prerogative and move the city council report up before the director's report. So Maxine, what is going on?
So as many of you know, or if you don't know, you should, if you haven't heard, Barb Sondag is going to be retiring. It's very bittersweet. It's great for her. She's going to be moving to Maine and being where both of all her grandchildren and 2 out of her 3 children are. And we've got big shoes to fill. And we're very fortunate that we've had her with us here in Olivet for the last 9+ years. And we have started the search. We've hired a consultant. Her name is Julie Stone at Stone Consulting. And the city council is met with her once so far. And actually we've met with her twice. And we're moving forward with the search, and we've learned that a search can be anywhere from 3 to 5 months. And so we're going to do our due diligence and find the best replacement possible. We also, coffee with the mayor last week was with Dawn Doty from the Parks Department, from the Planning Department, Planning and Zoning, and Beth Quindry, who is with Shockey Consultants, and they are the consultants on the comprehensive plan. So as all of you know, the comprehensive plan is the name that we're using now for what was previously a strategic plan. And last time it was done was in 2006. And here we are all these years later, and we look through what goals we set then, and we are achieving them and have achieved them and moving forward. And so now as we look towards 2045, these 2 women, as they attended the coffee with the mayor, Dawn shared the consensus report of Olivet that came out that we took during the pandemic in 2020. She shared the results of that. And Beth talked about the process and what it is people are looking for, and that there's going to be opportunities for your voices to be heard, because this is planning ahead for the next 15 to 20 years. So there will be opportunities to be a part of that. And if you want to see the coffee with the mayor, it is online. And if you want to hear more about these opportunities, there is a survey that comes out, been coming out on Mondays with the what's happening in Olivet this week. And if you would do the survey, that would get your email then onto the list for people for when we start, having community events to get feedback. When we did the park strategic plan, I don't know if all of you remember that we had that event, a few events in this new building in the community rooms, and people came up, and I don't know if you remember at the time, we had all the different pictures of the parks, and people could put Post-its on it. So there's going to be some events where you will have input, but start thinking about some of the changes that you would like to see. And then my next coffee with the mayor is on Wednesday, March 8th. And I am doing that with Barb Sondag so that people can hear about her accomplishments, hear what she has to say about having worked with Olivet, and have an opportunity to wish her well and to wish her well in her in this next chapter. Next week, the council will be hosting the MML. The Municipal League of St. Louis has monthly meetings, and they rotate to different municipalities. And Missy Waldman, one of our council members, is actually on their board. And so we have been asked to host, so we will provide dinner and appetizers for them, and then they have a speaker, and we're excited to show off our building and have them all with us. So it's just a busy time. We're already starting the budget process for next year. So just trying to get a lot of things in order before Barb leaves as we move forward in the search. So there's a couple things I could talk about with the parks, but I'm going to leave that to Beth. So are there any questions?
Thank you, Maxine.
Thank
So-
you. Yes? Did someone start to ask a question?
I've got one for you. On the survey that comes out, is it always the same survey? I filled it out like the first week there was the email.
Yeah.
But it's different. Okay, I didn't know if there, okay, I didn't know there
There's
was.
only been one survey. That's it. So,
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's amazing how that works. Maxine, will there be an interim city manager, or how is that going to be handled?
We have some, we possibly will have an interim. It just depends how far we are along in the process at that time. So we're looking into some options.
Thank you. Any other questions? Rob, did you have a question?
I just said thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maxine. And next item, director's report. Beverly?
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. The director's report is reordered from what is on your agenda. I pulled the park project related items out and put them in the park project. So we'll kick off with you have before you, which I don't have, but I can look at the screen. So youth baseball is registration is open now. Practices begin at the end of March and games begin in April. We have a lot of divisions. I've listed them out for you in the report because there are so many, which is very exciting. We have a limited space. Spring break camp is filling up. It's here. It's mad science. We can't take as many kids as we traditionally do because of the size constraints here in this building. So we hope it sells out, but we do have some spaces left. Then Puzzle Palooza was such a success, and people are highly skilled. So we are bringing it back, and this time it's going to be 1,000-piece puzzle instead of 500. So, Jim, alert your family. Let's see.
Will there be several levels? Like 500 and different leagues?
No, everybody's doing 1,000, but we're advertising it that way. But new levels next year is one of the things we're looking at. But this, this is still our inaugural year. Then summer camp last month, you had a big overview of all the programs we're offering, the day camps and contract camps that we're offering. But I have two important things for you to note on Camp O, and that is we have secured Hillcrest School for the headquarters for summer camp this year. Camp will not be in Five Oaks on Warson. So the huge relief to staff not to have to figure out where we're going. So they'll be at Hillcrest School, primarily outside, but we have classrooms in there for rainy days and for quiet times at the end of camp. Also has a nice bus circle for the buses come for field trips. So it's going to be wonderful. And then they can walk up to Warson Park from there, which is fantastic. And we're really excited about that. And they have a built-in permanent Gaga ball pit. So for those of you who have not seen Gaga ball at summer camp, you have not lived. But so if your kids are older than maybe 15, they may not have played it. This is a new game that swept the nation a few years ago. So Holy Fest is coming up. It is on Saturday, March 4th. For those of you who haven't attended in the past, the last time we held it was the first year of the pandemic. In fact, news reports were just coming out when we had our last Holy Festival. Some people were there in masks, which was very interesting. Before we didn't even know what was going on. We have over 1,000 people attend this event, so it's pretty big. And this year we're moving it 100% onto the field to prevent any grease stains from food or anything happening over in the Stacy Pavilion. It's sort of like our new car, and we don't want that first scratch yet. So we'll be out on the fields for that. And then we bring in porta potties and hand washing stations. So the colors are cornstarch and water soluble. They clean up very easily. The only caveat to that is we have air dryers in our bathrooms. So when you wash your hands and go to dry your hands, all of the colors that are on your clothing then fly about and get all over the walls. So even though they come off, it's a lot of staff time to clean them up. So that's why we bring in the porta potties. So we've learned a
the
lot over the
blowers,
years.
electricity will be turned off.
No, we have porta potties. People can still go over there, but it's a longer hike. And we've done it this way before, and it really has made an incredible improvement. So very exciting. And it's wonderful. So I encourage all of you to come. We will have an information booth there. All of it in Bloom will have a booth out there. So it's a good time. I gave you a little more detail. You can read at your leisure about the history of Holy Festival, what it means and what the colors mean. So the big news with the Parks crew is tomorrow they are picking up the pallet racks, moving in to the new building. It's huge. It's huge.
Sorry,
Yes, Rob?
I'm sorry, what was that suddenly got very dim?
Oh, when we clap, I think it cuts out. It cuts
Oh,
out. So,
oh.
yeah. So when the applause happens, the microphones cut it out. I apologize.
I got it.
Yeah, the Parks crew is moving in tomorrow. They start the move-in. It's going to be a long, slow move-in. They're going to take their time. They have to set up all of the shelving units first, and then they'll be putting everything in an organized fashion. So they are very excited. It is,
Outstanding.
can't even tell you. So there are still punch list items on that building itself. The parking lot will be paved later when the asphalt factories reopen. So that's, temperature driven. And then there's still a couple other exterior things that will be happening, but the inside is complete. So we are very happy. Then Weed Warriors, if you have not been by Stacy Park since last Saturday, I encourage you to go. It is incredible. They had a big crew, the biggest crew we've had of the year. And they went because it was a sunny day, temperatures were nice, and they cleared all of the invasives in the tree line between the upper and lower prairies. So when you see it, it's amazing. I don't have any photos yet. I'm really hoping somebody took a before picture. Thank you, Jim. So I'll send that out to you when I get it, because it's stunning. And Brian's already has a seed order we're going to start putting some native understory plants in there. We're still deciding how much to limb up in there. They left some trees that we may potentially thin later, but it's amazing. That is amazing.
Let me make one
Yes,
comment.
Sure.
The temperature was 25.
Oh, when you started?
Yes.
Oh, it warmed up later in the day. I
Well,
apologize.
it was warming after you work.
After you work.
So-
That's right.
So
That's
it,
right. Yeah. Oh, well, that's too bad. Okay. But just to caveat on that, for those of you who haven't experienced it, we have done Weed Warriors in the snow, and it really isn't that bad. Once you're moving and walking around, most of the places we work are pretty sheltered. And, one day we worked behind the pond and it started snowing pretty good. And I think the temperature when we left was like 21 or 19, and it was totally fine. You have no idea once you're working and everybody's all excited, and pretty fun.
I was a little hesitant when I went over, but
Yeah.
25 is not that cold.
No,
Once
it's
you get
not.
working.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to give you a report on, we had some vandalism at Stacy Park. And I do want to say that we typically have vandalism in all of our parks throughout the year. Oftentimes it'll be sort of cyclical. Sometimes Irvside seems to have a lot of it. Sometimes Villa Park. It seems to come in cycles. This is the first time we've really had vandalism of this magnitude at Stacy, but also it was closed for a long time. So what we found is oftentimes it's children that live very close to the park and are coming out unsupervised, particularly when it's at Villa, Indian Meadows, or Herbside. Stacy, a little bit unknown quotient there, but the parks crew worked really hard, got it all cleaned up. It's 3 separate incidences. They were all reported with the police department, and we're talking to the police department of what we might do in the future. And it may not continue. It may just be an isolated. So we'll see what happens. We're monitoring it. Then Park Memorial, pardon me?
What was the damage?
So the outside of the restroom was spray painted between Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning. And then Monday morning, they found graffiti inside the restroom. There'd been a lot of pot smoked, and the joints had been put out on the walls. And then someone, like about 2 weeks later, punched the Little Free Library at the corner. And that is right within sight of the school, and there's streetlights there. So, you know, these things happened. Rob Hoyerman repaired the Little Free Library for it at Orson. Someone had completely smashed that up. So this happens throughout all of it. It's not unusual, but want to make sure you all knew it. Yeah. So as they say, if you see something, say something. Park Memorial Program. So the new brochure is out. We can scroll down. You can see it while I'm talking about it. We have a preliminary tree list that's being finalized with Brian, our city horticulturalist. And then we've decided where all the benches, kind of what our maximum density of benches is in the parks. And of course, there's flexibility with that as our older benches age out. And then as far as the trees go, Brian says the more the merrier. There's always space for trees, particularly since we're not specifically, the trees aren't going in specific locations, they're going where we need them. And then varying sizes too. So it's pretty exciting. This is going to be finalized in the coming months. It'll be on our website in April. And then an article be published in the city newsletter in June, kind of formally announcing it. So that gives us time to kind of work with it a little bit as it's up there. And then the monetary levels are getting added into our registration software so that it'll track everything the way we like, with the notices and with making sure we have a good record of everybody that's donated. So you can look at this at your leisure if you have any questions, or if you see any typos, please let me know. I've had 6 people look at this now, but the more eyes, the better.
Do these numbers cover the cost?
Yes, we went through that. Remember, we
Oh,
went
yeah,
through that.
no,
Yeah,
I would-
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's how we set the levels going through that. Then we have, let's see, Olivet and Bloom. A lot's going on with Olivet and Bloom. Very exciting. They're really revving up. So the big news is they gave us $1,000 donation towards the new native garden going in at the front of 5 Oaks on Warson. Not only that, they're going to help us plant it. It's very exciting. The native plant sale is April 29th. It's here again. They really liked having it here last year, so we're going to do it again. They're co-sponsoring a free lecture with the St. Louis Herb Society, which is wonderful. It'll be on March 30th at 7 o'clock, and it's making the connection how Indigenous people use plants for health and well-being. So catchy title. I know it's really long, but it'll be wonderful. Their kickoff day is coming up in April. And for those of you that may not have participated in any of their events, it's a wonderful group. It's very convivial. Everybody's super friendly. You can learn a lot. You can meet a lot of new people, and they need more hands. The other big news is, while Stacy was under construction and while Plaza was under construction, those volunteer teams kept volunteering with us down at the Stacy Pond, and they liked it so much, and it's made such a huge increase that they've officially recognized that as an Olivet and Bloom garden. So we've been putting up a sign down there, and they will continue to assign volunteers there on a regular basis, which is huge. So we are very appreciative of that. So that's a big deal. So now they officially have 4 gardens. So I'm very happy. Personnel updates. So we have 2 Recreation Division members that have had significant promotions in their professions. So Corey Shovik is moved up to be a supervisor, and he's with the, I always say this not wrong, Parkway Rockwood Community Education District. So he's running all of the athletic programs over there. So that is a huge kudos to him. And then Melinda Stitzel, our guest engagement supervisor, has moved over to Launch Code, and she is their candidate engagement manager. So she is managing all the people that help with the intake of all the people that come into Launch Code. So that is fantastic. And we are so sorry to lose them, but what a coup for us that our employees are that well thought of and moving up like that. So we're very proud of them. The recreation coordinator position is open. If you know anyone that is interested in working in sports, the job description is on the website. We also have it posted out in lots of areas. And then we'll start recruitment for the guest engagement supervisor in March. Weed Warriors last day of the season coming up on the 11th. And then there's flyers in here for the events that are coming up. And one thing I didn't talk about is we have a couple yoga programs have come back from an instructor that was here prior to the pandemic. We're doing a little promotion on them. We have other new yoga instructors that are coming, but they're holding off till they start at Five Oaks on Warson. So they used to be very well attended here. It's been a very slow restart with them. So we'll see if they pick up. All right. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have on the director's report.
Questions? Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Great update. Sorry to hear about Corey and I'm sorry, the young lady, but anyway, I'm sure we'll find others to come in and take those roles.
Thank you, Rob.
I'm sorry, I have one question. The Mosaic project is this Saturday at 11?
It is. That's under the park updates because, yeah.
Okay. The annual work plan? Okay, as we're looking through this, we have implementation of the comprehensive plan. That is kind of a carry-out cover-all for what we're doing. For the last few years, we have been focusing on the Prop C through the pandemic and so forth, and that's coming up. And there will be a master plan 5-year update. What we do is on a 10-year basis. The park master plans are on a 10-year basis, and halfway through, you kind of go and look at it and say, what are we doing? Is everything still in sync? And so we will be doing that. And Beverly, help me. We will be doing that with a consultant.
Yes, we will. We'll send out an RFQ for that, and it'll be an item in the capital improvement project. Will be funded through that. And it's a public process, and the commission will be highly involved in that.
And then on the community engagement and volunteers, one of the things that I think that we can do as commissioners is be present at a lot of these programs, different events. I mean, we talked about the Holy Festival, Weed Warriors. I know not everyone that's their thing. Coming into the fall or coming into Thanksgiving, we'll get into Turkey Trot. And so there's a lot of opportunities for us to do that. And one of the things that we talked about last time, and I know that we haven't met yet, but in terms of talking about park walks, just kind of introducing people to the parks to kind of see what's going on, and that would be publicized through the Olivet weekly report.
That's to be discussed. You haven't figured
Yeah,
out.
I
the
mean,
template yet.
we'll figure
Yeah.
that strategy out, but I
Right.
mean, that's one opportunity to do that. Working forward, we have the rental fee, and I think people have volunteered through this in terms of Keisha, Bill, and Rob on the field rental fees. We have a the fourth item that we've been talking about is the time capsule. And we'll need to determine that. And I think Sue and Rich and Sue and Bill have volunteered to do that. And so we'll need to, in the next month or so, we'll need to get together and try to figure out what we're going to put in it, and what's going to happen. I think one interesting thing about this is that as we look at it, we're going to be taking down the school, which is the community center. And we're going to see during demolition whether there's a time capsule there. So there may be some carryover as well.
Odds are slim, but we're
Yeah.
gonna look just in
We're
case.
going to look and see what's going on. And then I think the exciting thing that we're looking to do this year is we're opening parks. And the parks are open. I don't know about people in terms of what's other ones, but I regularly walk through Villa, and there are an enormous number of kids and parents in that area. So I think that we're looking at that. And I think the idea is that we will have individual celebrations at each park. Villa at this point is open except for the splash pads, and then there's some minor work that needs to be done there. Herbside, we're waiting for the grass to grow in the dog park. We'll probably do some things there. Stacy is pretty much open and ready to go. The problem at Indian Meadows is that the water company's doing things over there and doing and MSD's working through there as well. So, but what I would like to see the commissioners do is volunteer. And per state law, we can only have 3 commissioners on each park. But I would like for people to sign up for planning events for each one of the 4 parks. And then we'll do a big blowout when Five Oaks opens. So we need to have some folks. I think if you can let Beverly know which parks you would be interested.
If you could do it tonight, so.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we could do it.
Yeah, at our last meeting, everyone was interested. So when you and I talked about it, we
Yeah.
thought.
So if
Yeah.
people are interested in specific parks, let's know, and then we can begin to develop that, and then there will be staff assistance with that as well. So don't feel like if you're volunteering for it that you're lone rangers out there.
Oh, no, they're doing 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So we would like to see 2 or 3 people do that. I will step back because if we find a park that people are not as interested in and so forth, I'll step into that one. We don't have issues with the sunshine laws and agendas and so forth. So
Yeah, quick question. So what does this all entail? Part 1, but part 2, didn't we do this last week?
You did this last week, and every commissioner wanted to be on the committee, and we said that we would have a meeting with all the commissioners and post it. And as a follow-up to this, as Jim started looking at it, he prefers that it be smaller groups to work on each one so that we don't have to have the whole commission meet for all 5 openings.
Okay.
yeah, that it's more a sunshine law issue.
Can you remind me, just so I don't take off more than I can chew
Sure,
here,
sure.
what all is involved with this? What are you
Well,
looking for the
so-
commission
Here
to do?
are the 5 on at 5.2 on this.
Mhm.
You'll see, going to set dates, we're going to create formats, we're going to build budgets, develop the marketing piece, gather the supply and help host. So that's really what it is. And I mean, I think initially what we're talking about is people just sitting down and kind of working through that. I mean, it seems much more complex than it probably will
Mhm.
turn out to be, but we'll continue to do
Yeah.
that.
I can help kind of define it a little bit. These are small neighborhood gatherings. They're not like Party in the Park. So Party in the Park is a really big event. It rivals Holy Fest in that we can have 600, 800 people back in the heydays before the pandemic. So hopefully we'll get the same amount again this year. But so Party in the Park is a really big event. We have a lot of vendors. It's very expensive. These and Stacy Park can handle it. It has that big parking lot, and then we have overflow on the grass if needed. So these celebrations are in neighborhood parks. So they'll be at Indian Meadows that doesn't have a parking lot. It has limited street parking. So being sensitive to that, it'll be a smaller event. Same with Villa. It has a parking lot, but it can be quickly overwhelmed because I think, Don, correct me, 18 spots, 20 spots.
Plus
Yeah.
or minus.
Plus or minus, yeah, plus or minus. So, very quickly, you want, again, it's a neighborhood park. We want to keep it small and intimate. Irvside can handle a larger group because it has the parking lot at Logos School and we have an agreement with Logos and we get to use that. So it could be a larger event there. Plus it has the dog park, so it could be a more interactive event. So, basic party planning that they drilled into us, majoring in recreation, something to eat, something to drink, and something to do. So a very minor activity, some lemonade, maybe cookies, maybe hot dogs, popcorn, whatever, something kind of fun and park related, and then have some events around that and invite the neighborhood to come. So really a way for everyone to kind of come and celebrate the fact that this is done and take a look at it. And as Jim referenced, that we have some constraints on the time. So for example, we don't turn the water on in the parks until April 15th, because otherwise we replace pipes every year. So that kind of helps decide when they'll be. So they have to be after April 15th because there's no restrooms until then. And then at Indian Meadows and at Villa, they are going to be putting in the valves and the spray heads, and then they have to test them when the water comes on in the spring. So they're going to install them now, but they won't test them till the spring, because if we turn them on now, then we got to go through the whole decommissioning process for winter again. So those can be a little bit later. And then Stacy, it could make sense to have the Stacy dedication be at Party in the Park when the mosaic is unveiled. That might be a wonderful way to kind of celebrate that park. And then that's a lot less planning for the commission, because, planning takes time. And I think that's one of the reasons, I think Jim's suggestion to not have all 7 commissioners trying to meet and plan every event would be really difficult. I mean, look how hard it was to get everybody together for the mosaic or for the tours when we walk through the site. So I do think that's a good idea. And people can have meatier roles when it's smaller. And then budget wise, we have a tight budget. We have a special events budget. We have money in there. But it's not huge. It's, we're talking a couple $100 max. So that really helps define it. Yeah. Sure.
Rob's raising his hand.
I'm sure you're going to get to this, but could you chat about what your vision is for what's been talked about from the Warson Park perspective?
Warson will hold off a little bit because it's Warson and the community center are tied together on the same project timeline.
Yeah.
The other parks, Indian Meadows, Irvside, Villa, and Stacy, separate projects, separate general contractor. So the work at Warson in the park side of it will not finish until the old community center comes down. And then they'll have to start, but they have to start with grading and putting in all the water, and that will take some time, and that probably won't be done
And it-
until July. Rob,
you
you wanted a little more construction by your house, right? You
Oh,
were
it can't
hoping
get
for
enough.
that.
No, it's good. I'm looking at that land value to keep going that way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey,
Parks make life better and they make houses more valuable.
So
that's right.
eat, to do, and what was the third one?
Something
that-
to eat, something to drink, and something to do.
Drink. Okay.
All right. Sorry, just to round the edges on the Morrison Park discussion. So thinking August for a
Yeah, I would think so. And you know, it's weather dependent too. And sometimes August can be pretty miserable. So it
Pretty-
might make
oh.
more sense to do September for Warson.
Or September. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's my park. Okay. Happy to do it.
So am I writing down Rob Hoyerman, Warson Park?
Well, I think he already is on that list, but just in case, yeah. Should be in the last minutes.
Okay. He is.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm your man. Yep.
So for looking at the various parks, do we have Villa, Irv, Zide, and Stacy, and Indian Meadows? Does anybody have a passion for any of those parks?
Do you want to sign up for one or two?
One or two, yeah, I would think.
I'm inclined to do Stacy.
Okay,
I'll do Herbside.
okay.
I'm assuming you want to do Villa.
Well, I need help. I will be one of them, one on Villa. Do you want to do Villa too?
I'll do Villa and
Okay.
Herbside. They're the closest to me.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I think we'll need to figure out Indian Meadows.
Mhm.
And I can do Indian Meadows, and we've got two commissioners absent tonight, so we'll pitch them. But so far I've got Rob for Warson, and I'm assuming that once we get that, that's going to be a much bigger deal because it'll probably be Warson and Five Oaks.
No, it'll be
You-
separate because
you-
Warson Park is a park and then Five Oaks is a
Okay,
community center. They'll be
okay, so,
separate.
but that's
Yeah.
a September.
Yeah.
Villa's probably a late spring, early summer.
Yeah.
Herbside, we'll have to figure out what's happening with the grass in the dog park.
Mhm.
Stacy is probably ready to go, but when is Party in the Park?
It's the first Saturday in May,
Okay,
and that's, I believe, May 6th.
and I think Travis has volunteered for that. Other people will come
Mhm.
into that as well, and staff will work very heavily with that.
Mhm.
And then I will help with Indian Meadows, and
Okay.
I'll twist arms for the rest on that one. And so we can move forward with that.
Great, that is terrific. That's terrific.
So,
Can I ask a general question?
Sure.
on parks? So I don't know if anyone's been following our parks on Nextdoor.
Mhm.
You're bringing a lot of information that's not exactly accurate.
Can you-
I went out and looked at our.
Can you open your
website.
mic, Sue?
yeah, it's open.
I looked at a website and I noticed that we have some older information out there. Can we get that updated with what?
Yeah, we
actually-
can. We went through and updated the whole website, so it could be there's a stale page, so I'll look through. Yeah, we
When I-
recently went through it,
When I
so,
looked at it,
Yeah.
there's like the listing of what we were gonna do in the park. And some things have happened and some things.
oh, are you talking about the park project pages? Or are you talking about the pages on
The
the,
pages that talk about what the project entailed. So
okay,
not the project page itself, but the park amenities,
oh, the park,
that needs to be updated accurately.
okay.
So-
So could you please call me tomorrow?
Okay.
And then we'll go through it and you could show me the
I
pages
can show
because
you.
that would be
So-
the
so
best for me.
basically,
Yeah,
It's clear what we were gonna do or intended to do. And some of those things have been put on hold. There were a couple other things that happened that aren't on that list.
so you're
And I-
talking about like the entrance at Villa that we had to postpone or the,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
some of that stuff isn't exactly accurate, and I
Yeah.
think that may be misleading. people.
So-
I
so
wanna
the-
send them to the
okay.
website, but I want them to get
Yeah.
good information.
Yeah, that's a good point because some of those documents I can't change because they're historic documents, but we can do an addendum
We
or
can do an
add something to
update,
it.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I think we just need to do that, because I would like to be able to cut and paste the
Yeah.
link and say.
Yeah.
Hey, here's what's currently, what happened, and that we're gonna dedicate,
okay.
you know, we'll have a
Yeah.
party in the spring or
Yeah.
whatever.
I stay out of the next door fray.
Don't
Yeah.
usually respond,
Yeah.
except when I see really bad misinformation.
Yeah.
I know you do too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Jim does
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. And Kiana's our, yeah, Kiana's our communication manager and she monitors it.
Yeah,
yeah, it's,
I try not
yeah.
to say anything, but
Mhm.
if we point them to a link, I want the link
Yes.
to be accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I have seen some of that, particularly with Herbside and Villa. And so,
And people say the craziest thing.
well,
True. And
that's,
oftentimes they're
that's social, that, and
Huh?
and not
Oftentimes they
necessarily
live in another
that
community.
informative, but,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, if I
Yeah.
see something like what's going on, the particular question I think was at Herbside in terms of the nature playground.
Yeah.
And so if you don't want a nature playground, you go 6 blocks and you'll find one that is more.
Yeah, and I went to go give them the link to Villa and I realized there were some things on there that. you know,
Yeah.
really-
So, yeah, so again, we'll figure out which part, which website.
Yeah,
we're
we
going to.
can see,
Yeah,
but I think
yeah.
push comes to shove, we just need to make sure that
Mhm.
the websites are up to
Right,
date. and-
absolutely.
And you've got the staff, and Kiana does a great job of keeping track of that stuff, but we need to look at
Yes.
the.
Absolutely.
One last question.
Sure.
The path in Villa. Is
Yes.
it gonna go all the way around or is it not?
Well, it goes all the way around. There's loops in it now, but it doesn't go to tests because that's the part we had to pull out for the stormwater project that's coming with MSD.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like that would be, because if you look at the website, it's got. the
Yes.
path all the way around.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
So that's one of them.
Yeah, and I cannot update that drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can put it.
Right, but we can put a note on
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
And in a Villa, it is a loop. You go through the.
Mhm. There is a
parking lot,
loop,
and
yeah.
There is a loop at this point. It just doesn't go out to Tess and Kenna.
Correct.
It doesn't match what's there, so just a
Yeah.
one sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stormwater project's coming.
And the other thing to remember, which does state on all of the pages, that it's a vision plan and that the vision is 10 years. Yeah, and not all items will be done in the same phase.
One of the things that we might be able to do with that is just on the ones that are successfully completed, put
Mhm.
successfully completed. So, and then, so are there,
So Sue, I appreciate you calling me tomorrow.
Yeah.
That'd be really helpful.
and also going on down, looking at commissioner development, there's several different things. If anyone sees anything that they want to participate in or whatever, let Beverly know. I participated in a, I guess it was an MPRA. It
No,
was a
today it was a
Grow Na-
Missouri Prairie Foundation.
Yeah, so there's several different things that Beverly's and the parks are members of. And I went to a thing on ponds today. And it was a really good thing. So I think as you're a member of the MPRA, you will get some emails and that sort of thing.
Is everyone getting the information? Have you been receiving MPRA emails?
I-
Everyone been receiving it?
I have.
Yes, and those are very good. everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know that I've identified them specifically as that, but they come in
Okay.
with the mass of other ones that I get. Are you getting in?
Kind of the same boat. I mean, I get a bunch of things. I assume that this is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just to be aware of it. There's lots of things out there. There's also, I mean, if you find things that you, as you're looking around, cruising the web and so forth, might pass that along to people. I mean, trying to think what the one is. It's New City, which has
No, that is, now you scared it out of me. It's the City Parks Alliance.
well, there's City Parks Alliance, but then there's some other ones in terms of city planning and so forth that you can pick up bits and pieces of. So if you see those things, share it with the group. And we can kind of see what's going on. I mean,
Absolutely.
realizing, of course, that we're a very small community and some of these big things are very large in scope.
But we can still have visions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I think what we want to look at is best in class.
Yes,
And-
absolutely.
And not only best in class, but best in region. So we can figure out what we can do on it. So that is pretty much the work plan in terms of how we're,
Can I ask a question on that?
sure.
So do we get, or does Missouri Department of Conservation like give a discount for us? Like I'm getting emails and the magazine from them. All choked up talking about it. And like there was a certified burn certificate
Right.
that I would love to do, and I may just
Right.
do on the side.
Yeah.
But, and I know we do controlled burns and.
We do.
So like, do they have a discount for us?
No, we pay
Okay.
full price.
Okay.
We sometimes, particularly from Missouri Prairie Foundation, there are a lot of free programs we get because we're members, because we pay
Okay.
that annual fee. But there are some things we have to pay for.
Mhm.
Missouri Department of Conservation does a lot of things free, a lot of free webinars, but the burn program, they charge full price because it's a huge commitment. They want people to do it. They want people to really pass the test
Mhm.
and know what they're doing so that we just don't have people randomly out burning prairies or non-prairies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are there budgeted numbers for commissioner education
Well,
and our
So
activities?
if there is a conference that's local, then typically we know more than a year in advance and we budget for commissioners to attend.
Okay,
If the commissioner, if there's a training that requires travel, it's less likely we're going to fund that because we are a small agency. If
Okay.
we were an agency as big as the city of St. Louis or some other city, sure, then we would fund travel, but typically the conferences don't cost that much money. It's the housing and the transportation to get
But-
there that really have the cost.
but if we wanted to go on our own dime.
Oh, you absolutely can.
Registration might be covered.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. We have a couple $100 discretionary every year for trainings for commissioners.
Okay.
It's, it's very low. We prioritize getting the staff to their certificate programs that they have to
As
do.
we should.
Right. So, right now Brian's embarking, now that we have the new building, Brian's embarking on getting his certification for pesticide, herbicide applications. We
Mhm.
could, with our old building, we would not qualify. He could not pass that and we would fail the inspection. So now with the new building, he's starting that so that,
Okay.
we have money for that. This year, he's also taking the pollinator habitat recreation certification program from one of the monarch organizations.
Okay,
And that was probably the most expensive thing we've done this year. So this year, none of our staff, the state conference is going on right now, none of our staff went because originally this is when we were going to be opening the new community center. So we thought that that was not a good time for people to be away from the office. So, so this year we had a very, very minuscule training budget, but next year we're going the budget process right now. We'll put some money in there for next year for sure.
but the important thing is we invest in our people.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
But I
absolutely.
think it's, when it's particularly if there's something local and close by. So
Sure.
for example, City Parks Alliance, we're a member of that. We're an agency member. Actually, I think we're an individual member. It's me, but I can get stuff through it. But they are doing a big nationwide visit to St. Louis this year. And so I'm putting that in because I think, I don't know what the cost is yet, but I have a save the date on that. So as I get more, I've signed up to receive notices when they do that, but they are bringing people to St. Louis to see what's been done in this region. A lot of it's they're coming to see the Greenway, the reinvestment in, I think in the Foundry. And then the archery development, there's something else they're coming. I can't remember all the things, but they're coming for people to go in those. So seeing it with, the lens of someone coming from another area to see best practices, that's really good for us to come as locals to see that.
And I think it would be good if when you see those things, if you could let us.
Oh, I absolutely
let
will.
us
I
know.
don't have any information to tell
Right,
you
right.
yet, but
Okay.
it's absolutely in there. That's on my radar for that.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
there are other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So, looking at these park, openings and celebrations. I've never been a part of anything like this as a city. Is this something that are we driving? Am I waiting to hear from someone staff wise, like what are
Right.
the actual?
Right.
like,
How does
next
it
step?
actually
Like,
happen?
What's actually,
Right.
what am I responsible for? And what do you
Right.
need from me?
So I think that each group kind of works a little differently. Sometimes I have to crack the whip and say, you guys haven't met, you need to meet.
Yeah.
But theoretically, you meet as a group, you notify me that when you're meeting, because you're the ones that have the toughest schedules. And then either myself or Dawn will go to that meeting. And we serve as, kind of to help you understand what the resources, what we have. And, but we really want your ideas. You're the residents. What do you want? What do your kids want? What do you want to see in this park? And when we can also share with you what we've seen other communities do. So that first meeting would be a brainstorm,
Okay.
kind of look at dates and things. But so for example, right now I have down on here that Bill and Jim, I have down for Villa. So Bill and Jim need to figure out when they're going to meet. Let me know. I'll be there. And then Travis, you're by yourself with Stacy. However, if we tie it in with Party in the Park, we can absolutely set up a time with you and you can meet the staff that are planning Party with the Park and we'll get your
Okay.
insight. And what we could do is delegate the mosaic unveiling for you if that is, if that's what we decide is like the driver of that. And there could be an auxiliary activity that happens with that where kids could do an interactive or adults even could do an interactive thing that ties in with that. So,
Okay.
we have a lot of options.
Okay.
Yeah.
cool.
And I'll help.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I think one of the worst things professionally, at least for me, is you get assigned a task. You're like, I don't really understand the
Yeah, don't
task.
do
Am I
this.
the one
Exactly.
getting in the car?
Yeah.
Am I in the
Yeah.
passenger seat? What?
Right,
what's the-
exactly.
What's the role here?
Yeah.
If you need me to start the
Well, you
car and
picked,
drive it, I
you
will.
picked a good one. You picked a good one. You got a
Good,
big
good.
team on that
Good.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll
All right.
be, you don't have to go to all of those meetings because that's a lot.
Yeah.
But definitely, we'll get you in the room with Marvin and Jill who drive that program. And it would be awesome for you to meet them and have a more, more intimate working relationship with them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Answer your question. Okay. Other questions? Oh,
Jim,
Rob. Yes, sir.
so two things might be kind of interesting to get these. And I know they're probably already on there. If I could get pointed to a document that has these celebrations on a timeline. And if they are, I apologize. I just haven't seen the document yet.
No, there's no timeline yet.
I don't think there's a
Yeah.
timeline. I think we can ask staff to prepare.
So that's ask.
Tentatively, that's probably task one on this.
That is task one. Yeah.
And then the coordination of the various celebrations will be done by staff so that we make sure that we don't overlap or.
Right. You don't want them all in the same time in the same day.
Right.
The
'Cause you
mayor
want-
will never forgive you.
It's driving around all
So,
day.
yeah, so if we can put that to staff.
We're not having a progressive parks opening.
Actually, that would be really fun.
All of that's
Breakfast at
fun.
one, lunch at another,
We
snack
all
at
get in
another,
our cars
dinner at
and honk our
another.
horns. Yes,
All of that's official overnight party. Yeah.
right.
Uh,
right. Well, we'll get the fire truck to lead us.
All right. So if we could get all those on a timeline so that we could all work off a kind of the same sheet of music.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was intrigued, Beverly, by your comment about this group coming in town, and I was wondering if maybe our recent investments could be a part of that agenda, that we'd be able to show our wares off to this group coming in town to see best practices.
I will cautiously say that is an excellent idea, but I don't know yet what it entails. So
Yeah,
let me find out
yeah.
for sure. I definitely think that we should attend whatever events they have. I would
Yeah.
be open to hosting it as long as we could afford it and it hit the timeline of us actually being open.
Right, we had some,
Well,
We
and
had
I
like-
also,
so
Yeah,
to speak.
yeah, and I also think of the angle of, we did this whole thing, the election or the Prop C and all during the pandemic.
Absolutely. Huge. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Yeah. And I just wanted to touch lightly on Five Oaks on Warson. So when Five Oaks on Warson opens, that'll be a completely separate conversation than these park activities. And
Right.
kind of the concept we're looking at right now is a series of rolling events. Because having one, so when this building opened, it was an opportunity to open all the doors and have people go and see all the areas they don't normally get to see, like the jails, where the firefighters sleep, go into the engine bays. Normally, all of those places are closed off to the public. So it was a one-time event. It was a big hoopla and everyone came in. For Five Oaks, we're thinking that it would probably behoove us to do it slightly differently, because it will be areas that everyone will get to see, but we also serve a really broad population. We are going to have programs for very, very young children, maybe even prenatal programs, like, we yoga for pregnancy and things like that, all the way up to seniors and people with developmental disabilities. So, we're going to have an art gallery. We're going to have all these different things. So a series of small events that kind of hyper focus on one specific area may be a really nice way for people to explore. Then have, maybe a big event outside and people could come in and maybe have tours. But start thinking in those concepts. Like, for example, we're going to have a gallery opening, when we open. So there'll probably be what we used to do at the old community center. We'd have the wine and cheese and the first night with the artists. So we'll have something like that. We can have some sort of special cooking demonstration or wine tasting in the commercial kitchen, but you wouldn't want to do that for the giant, I said commercial kitchen. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. For the teaching kitchen, you wouldn't want to have that when you have hordes of people in there for that big event, because that's a much more intimate, focused, got to make sure everybody's over 21 type of event. So there we have a lot of options, and having these small series events, one of the things we've been talking about as a staff is a way for us to do soft openings too, because when this building opened, everyone worked for the city, everybody knew everything, and everybody was part of the process of building. We're hiring brand new staff. All of our front desk attendants, our fitness attendants, they're all going to be brand new. So we are really going to have to do a lot of training, onboarding, and a lot of rehearsals to get them ready for things like that before we blow open the doors and suddenly we got 4 people on the same, life cycle, and we don't know how to get them off, or, whatever. So, so it's a little bit different. So really start thinking about, because we will definitely be leaning on the commission for some of these ideas of things we can do that are kind of unusual and kind of a fun way to get people in without having us overwhelm the system. So
I think that's a good segue into the park master plan
You got it.
implementation.
you got it. Thank you. So Dawn, if you could pull this up again, remember this dashboard was released on the February 7th. So we are quite a far away along from this. There are some awesome pictures if you want to scroll up. So you know how long ago it is because there's snow on the ground. But you can really see in that middle section, the greenway above the building, which is phenomenal. Some of the big takeaways we have right now are the framing is 100% complete inside the building. The sheetrock and insulation is going up inside. I was in there today, and not only is all the framing done, but even the overhead framing in the kitchen is now done, which when I walked in, I was like, oh gosh, it's amazing. So we definitely need to get a date to have the commission come in. I really think it's important that you start seeing it more frequently now, because the last time we went through, there wasn't concrete, I don't think, in the indoor playground yet. Is that correct? There was concrete on the rest of the building, but there were no walls up yet.
Yeah,
So-
there are windows.
Yeah, and now we have windows. So for those of you that follow us on Instagram, I put up a picture of the view from where one of the workout sections is, and it looks straight onto this beautiful oak tree, and it's the most beautiful view. So I really think that one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is to get that date set and get in there ASAP, because I want you to see it with the framing before the sheetrock is all up, and then see it again with the sheetrock. So I think that'd be really
Can you
important.
put a doodle out to the group, please?
I can. So we did find out that the doodles I was sending out were on East Coast time. So that's now been corrected to Midwest time.
Good. Good.
So the next one hopefully will be a little easier. But I was hoping tonight, if I could get an idea from people, would Wednesdays work since that's our meeting nights? Like if we did it next Wednesday, would people be available?
We'll make it.
Can be available, but Wednesdays are fairly busy meeting
Okay.
days for me.
Okay.
I don't know about other people.
Okay,
I mean, I travel for work, so it's
Okay,
it's
that's
very,
right,
very,
that's right.
very random, middle of the week.
so the other thing we could do is because we need to do it probably, after the crews go home. So it has to be after 4 o'clock and it has to be before sunset because the lights go off and go walking around there in the dark is not a good idea.
Beverly,
Yes,
since we'll be together on Saturday to do the project, could we go up after that?
that's what I'm wondering right now. I was just going to say, can we go after the painting ends this weekend?
I can.
Okay,
I can too.
then let's plan it because then we'll have council members. We'll have all of you. That'll be awesome. Yeah, perfect. Okay, done.
Beverly.
Excellent suggestion, Maxine. Thank you.
Beverly,
Yes.
I will have family members with me. Is that okay? Or do I need to send them home?
Yeah, it's an active construction site, Rob. It's probably not a good idea.
Okay, that's fine.
We wear helmets in there now, particularly. I almost lost an eye on a pipe. So gotta be watching in all areas at all times.
So will we meet here or will we meet over?
We'll meet here and then we'll
Because the
carpool
community
over.
center is no more.
Right. Well, we'll carpool over because we have to get in the gate. So we'll drive in, we'll open the gate. But we can carpool or everybody can take individual cars, whatever's easier, but we'll definitely drive over.
Okay, other things with the,
So just getting back really quickly, there's a couple key things. Here's the maintenance building. That's what we're moving into right there. We have the council approved a change order at last night's meeting. There through a series of events. You know that one of the things we value engineered out of the building was the second partition wall in the multipurpose room. So we were going to rough in the second wall and only have one in and then be in the future, be able to put one in. We wrote a capital project for about $85,000 to put in that second wall. Well, through a series of engineering things that they had to do and in reinforcing both locations, it became clear that we had to do both at the same time. So council approved the funds last night. So we will open with 2 partitions. So we will immediately have 3 rooms. So it did cost additional money. It didn't cost nearly as much as if we were to wait in future years. So, it saved us money in the long run. It costs us money now. So it's kind of a pain, but still, we are very happy that it's happening that way. So, and thank goodness you approved the fees now for all 3 rooms. Because otherwise we'd be suddenly opening up that fee ordinance rapidly. So thank you. Okay, moving on. The parks. So if Dawn, if you could come down, perfect. So we are finalizing the punch list in all the parks. What's remaining are 3 key things. There's some other small things happening, but the main things are the water service. So they're putting in the new water valves from the street at Indian Meadows. The dig right was out this week doing that. They're going to be doing the work in the next couple of weeks. And then we have backflow covers that had to be manufactured that are going over all the backflow devices for the water features. And that's going to lock them up inside, kind of a nice looking metal frame. So it's not just, we're not just going to put, barbed wire around it. So that's good. And it's not chain link. It's actually fabricated metal. So it'll look attractive. Then the dog park gate mechanism, we are still grappling with that. The mechanism that's in there, we've discovered is not ADA compatible. It's very difficult to open and close and very difficult to have the keypad on it. So we're working on a solution for that. We have time because that grass has to grow in there. So those are the things we're wrapping up. When the water features are up and operational, our long-term plan will be that they open on Memorial Day and close on Labor Day. This year, we may open them a little bit sooner, but we redid the park brochure and map, and that's what we put on there, is that's when they're going to be open, when they open. And then Stacy Park Mosaic, We've had a fantastic turnout. It's been amazing. And I've got some pictures in here, Don, if you could scroll down. This first one is the Rainey family, 3 generations. So there's the grandmother in the middle who's 93 and her daughter and her granddaughter, and they came and painted tiles. It's wonderful. Our firefighters and police officers have been in there. We've had lots of families, lots of multi-generation, a lot of people that had Lisa Roth as a teacher at Old Bonham School, which has been wonderful. Last weekend, I met a couple that have lived here over 45 years, and it was the first time I met them. It was really nice. So I think you're going to have a good time. The other thing is we were very short on tiles originally. We had a very finite number. Lisa made some extras and she's going to find space for them. So if you want to bring someone with you this weekend, you can. So Maxine, if your son's here, if he wants to come, Rob's going to bring his son. Travis, if you want to bring your twins, you'd be welcome to. So we'll have enough tiles. Yeah. All right. That's all I have. And it's Saturday, 11 a.m. And then after that, we will be going to Five Oaks. It's here in the community rooms. Yes.
Any other questions of Beverly? I think we could move through. We've talked about a lot of the future agenda items. I'm not sure the ACA cricket pitch donation.
Yes.
That's the only one that I don't think
Yeah.
that we've covered.
So in our park master plan is a cricket pitch at Stacy Park. And we have a group that that came to the commission. How many years ago was that, Sue? Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 now. A group came because as many of you probably know, cricket is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. Where I grew up in California, the soccer fields that we all played on as kids are all now cricket fields. And kids from here fly out and play tournaments on my old soccer field for cricket, which is amazing to me. So we have a lot of cricket players in this region. It's a huge growth sport here. We have cricket players at Stacy Park on the weekends. You've probably seen them out there. Sometimes they're on Friday nights and Saturday mornings. We have an agreement with a group. It's a team from WashU. It's a lot of researchers and professors that play. And then this ACA is a group of parents that founded this for children. So it's a children's league and they do a lot of education as well as games. And then they have a community service element combined in it. What they have offered to us is the pitch, to give us the pitch that's manufactured in Australia. It's beautiful. We just have to install it. It is in the plans of Stacy Park, and it would be, it runs north and south between the fields, but we need to bring the agreement to you. You need to see it, kind of the nuts and bolts of it, because we have to do a joint use agreement of when their leagues will be there, when our leagues will be there, that sort of thing. And then it needs to go to the council. We really want to acknowledge this because it's an expensive donation. I can't remember the actual price. Don, do you remember? It's like $12,000 or $15,000. Yeah.
So that will come either next month or the month.
Hopefully next month. We're trying
Okay.
to meet with
Okay.
their board this month and have a staff report to you next
Okay.
month. And they will come and give a presentation.
Okay.
Beverly, was that what they presented for you?
It
Jeff?
is. Yeah, it's
So
what they
that
presented.
same-
It's that same group, same
same-
gentleman.
and
Yes.
that same
Ajay
report.
Jam is the
Yeah.
guy that founded it. Yeah. So Ajay will be
So
here.
the same materials he was presenting.
Same materials, everything the same. Yeah.
Okay.
And they have one out if you're out in Dardine Prairie, they've got a couple out there you can go see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions of Beverly or Don or anyone else? Rob or Maxine?
Any initial thoughts on how the installation would be funded?
Well, the installation will pay for the concrete. It's concrete and then it's time and materials. So it's our crew doing the excavation and laying the concrete, which they are very adept at doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Hearing no other items, I would say that we are, well, let's see, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Right.
Opposed?
All right.
We're adjourned.
Who made that motion? And who seconded
Thanks,
that?
everybody.
I made the motion. It was just very quiet.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good
thank
night.
you, Maxine. Take
Good
care.
night, Maxine. Good night, everybody.
Two. It was even quieter than me.
Yeah, there it is. I know you can see him saying this, but it's time.